The sky over Mumbai was a dirty yellow canvas, the smog and city lights painting a sickly glow across the narrow, forgotten alleys. Anjali paid the taxi driver, her body a single, throbbing ache after another long night shift at the hospital. The air in her apartment building's hallway was thick and still, but as she climbed the stairs, a strange smell hit her. It was a bizarre, cloying mix of sweet frangipani flowers, sharp incense, and something else, something foul, like rotting meat. She unlocked the door. The apartment was dark and quiet. Rohan was already asleep, his steady breathing the only sound in the small space. But the smell was stronger in here, clinging to the curtains, the furniture, every corner of their home. Anjali flicked on the living room light and froze. On their small altar, where usually only a photo of the goddess Lakshmi and some fresh jasmine flowers sat, there was a wreath. It was a bizarre, unsettling thing made of lurch. White, trumpet-shaped flowers, their thick petals twisted and curled like grasping fingers. The sickly sweet scent radiated from them. The next morning, she asked Rohan about it. "Rohan, did you buy these flowers?" He glanced over at the altar, his face a mask of confusion. "No, I thought you did." "Weird. Maybe someone sent them as a gift." That night, Anjali couldn't sleep. The wreath's cloying perfume seemed to fill her lungs. In the dead of night, a tiny, unsettling sound drifted from the bedroom wall. It was a faint tinkling, like a handful of small pebbles being dropped one by one. When she woke up, the wreath was gone. Rohan sighed. Ed thrown it out, complaining about the smell, but the scent haunted Anjali all day at the hospital. It was a ghost in her scrubs, a whisper in the sterile air. During an ultrasound for a young expectant mother, the screen showed a fetus with no heartbeat. Anjali recoiled, the room spinning. A memory buried for 5 years clawed its way to the surface. An emergency case, a young girl from a village, delirious with fever. She was wearing a strange wreath of white flowers, her eyes wide with terror. "Doctor, save me," the girl had whispered, her voice a dry rasp. Anjali shook her head, trying to push the image away. When she got home that evening, the smell hit her like a physical blow. The rotting frangipane was back, stronger than ever. She found Rohan sitting cross-legged in front of the altar, his eyes closed, his fingers methodically counting the beads of a rosary. "What are you doing?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. He opened his eyes, but they seemed distant, unfocused. "Just praying," he mumbled. On the second night, the tinkling sound from the wall was louder, clearer. Anjali reached over, but the space beside her in bed was empty. Rohan was gone. Panic rising in her throat, she got up and found him standing in the living room, staring intently at the wall where the sound was coming from. "You hear that?" he whispered, his voice thin and strained. "It sounds like a child crying." Anjali listened. There was nothing but the sound of the wind rattling the window pane. And then she heard it, faint but unmistakable, the tiny, desperate sobs of a newborn baby. The next morning was even more disturbing. A line of tiny, wet footprints, too small to be human, led from the wall across the kitchen floor, disappearing under the sink, and on the altar, the wreath had reappeared, its petals fresh and dewy, as if it had just been woven. The sickly sweet smell was overpowering. Anjali knew this was no coincidence. She spent her day off at the city library, diving into old botanical texts. It didn't take long to find it. The flower was Datura, a plant known for its beautiful but highly poisonous blossoms. Ancient texts described its use in dark, esoteric rituals. A powerful tool to summon restless, vengeful spirit. She returned home, her heart pounding with a cold, creeping dread. As she approached the apartment door, she heard Rohan's voice from inside, low and urgent, on the phone. I know it was an accident. She didn't mean for it to happen. He hung up the moment she walked in. He knew. Rohan knew what was happening. He knew everything. That night, Anjali's dreams were a feverish torment. She was back in the village clinic from 5 years ago. The young girl with the Datura wreath was on the table, her eyes locking onto Anjali's. "Save me," she whispered again. But this time something horrific happened. A tiny, purpled hand, impossibly small, emerged from the girl's womb, reaching, grasping for Anjali. She woke up with a choked gasp, drenched in sweat. Rohan was sitting bolt upright beside her, his body rigid, his fists clenched so tight his knuckles were white. "You saw her too, didn't you?" Anjali whispered, her voice barely audible. He turned to her, his face pale and drawn. "Remember that day, 5 years ago? You called me. You said there was an incident at the clinic. A mistake." The memories flooded back. The frantic phone call, the cover-up to protect her career. "We have to do something," Anjali said, grabbing his arm. Rohan's gaze shifted to the dark corner of the room. "It's too late," he whispered, his voice cracking. He pointed. "She's here." Anjali followed his gaze. In the deepest shadows, a figure was beginning to form, a woman in a dark red sari, her face obscured by darkness. As the figure moved, Anjali heard the faint, metallic jingle of silver bangles. And then the baby's cry echoed through the room again, louder and more insistent than ever. Desperate, they fled to a small, ancient temple tucked away in one of Mumbai's oldest neighborhoods. The elderly priest listened to their story, his face growing graver with every word. He shook his head slowly. "The spirits of a mother and her unborn child are bound to you. Their passing was unjust, and they cannot find peace. This is a debt of karma. How do we pay it, Anjali pleaded?" The priest looked at her with ancient, sorrowful eyes. "A life was taken. The debt can only be paid with a life." The final night descended. Their apartment had transformed into a living hell. The tiny bells rang incessantly from within the walls. Wet, ghostly footprints crisscrossed every floor surface. The scent of Datura was suffocating, so thick it felt like it was coating her throat. Suddenly, Rohan stood up, his movements stiff and unnatural. His eyes rolled back into his head, showing only the whites. When he spoke, it wasn't his voice. It was a shrill, chilling shriek that tore through the air. "You took my life. Now I will take back what is mine." The thing wearing Rohan's body lunged at Anjali, its hands cold and impossibly strong, closed around her neck. She looked into his eyes and saw not her husband, but the burning, unholy hatred of a stranger. "Rohan," she screamed, clawing at his hands. Just then, an excruciating pain ripped through her abdomen, doubling her over. And then, a new voice, a child's voice, spoke from her own mouth. "Mother, I have returned." Rohan, or the spirit possessing him, stumbled back, stunned. Before him stood not Anjali, but a twisted parody of her. Her eyes were pools of pure black, and a grotesque smile stretched her lips. The next morning, concerned neighbors called the police when the couple didn't emerge. They found the apartment eerily silent. Rohan was curled in a corner, his eyes wide and vacant, staring at nothing. Anjali lay on the floor, motionless, her hands clutched protectively over her abdomen. The Datura wreath sat on the altar, its white petals fresh, its sweet scent lingering in the air. The official cause of death was recorded as sudden cardiac failure. There were no marks on her body, but the coroner noted the haunting, unnatural smile fixed on her face. Rohan was never the same. He spent his days sitting before the altar, mumbling words no one could understand. And every few days, he would leave the apartment only to return with a fresh wreath of Datura, an offering for an invisible spirit. Night after night, in that cursed apartment, the faint tinkling of tiny bells and the sickly sweet scent of frangipani and rot lingered, a permanent reminder of a debt that could never, ever be truly repaid. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the shadows. See you next time.